Hello, very good evening. In today's task, basically we're going to learn how to break a string in Java into various different parts. Okay, so for example, we have a small task available. This task says that I write a program that does the extraction of a 10-digit telephone number and store that number in a certain format. That format is that, for example, if you have this number given, the first 3 digits basically represent your area code. So you separate them and let that know that this is your area code, this is your exchange number. So the next 3 numbers are basically your exchange code, and then actual 7890 is your last 4 numbers are your actual number. So from area code to exchange number to your original number. So we take this for a string and we break it into parts and identifying which part is which, and then finally present the formatted string in a different way. So the 4 main tasks are to be done here is that we take the string and then we break the string into area code, exchange, and the number 3, and then format that text according to the given value. So we separate it so it's more readable, in other words. Okay, so how do we do that? In order to do that, basically we need to now use a function within our Java called Substring. Now Substring is a function that allows us to break a string and extract a certain part of a string within our code. Let me show you. If I go into Java again, right? So we have been using NetBeans and we try to create small apps so we understand everything with that. So what I do again here is, so if I have a project, I go into it, file, new project, and let me name it, for example, yes, I want a Java application, click on next. Let's name it as phone number. Okay, so the INUMB, let me correct that, phone number. Now this is a new project. Click on finish. It will create the project and make the necessary packages and everything for you. Once it is done, hang on, it's taking more time than it should. Okay, so once it's done, you would see that you would get a project window. If I just pick it up, okay, so you get a project window with a phone number, with your source package including your phone number as a sub package, in other words a folder. Within that we have a phone number.java file. Now this phone number.java file is the main file that actually contains your public static void main method that is required to initiate the code. Once it is there, we will be using this code to launch the program. Again, remember, this file or this basic class file becomes the main file when which is executed when the user clicks on this button. So we created a new package in NetBeans. Now let's just go here into phone number, right click here and go into new and create Jframe form. Okay, so whenever we need to create a GUI frame, a GUI software, basically this is what we do. We create a new package, we get a test main file. We don't tamper with this thing right now. We just come here in new package folder, right click, new, create Jframe form. So once you click on that, it will go into it and ask you that what's the name of your frame. So for example, I can say phone NUMB, a number, GUI. Okay, sometimes just try to name your classes which makes more sense. Okay, and try to avoid the spelling mistakes like I did. So phone number GUI would tell me that, okay, this is where my GUI actually, or this is my GUI class file. So once I click on that, Java will, or NetBeans will go into it, create a class, create the entire GUI frame for it, write the backend code and present you the palette so you can add more components within that palette. Now I will just create on the label, create here, and I will just give it a small title, for example, phone number SPLI splitter. Okay, and this will split my phone number. Oh, sorry, what happened here? Okay, right click, edit text. Let me rewrite it, phone NUM number SPLI splitter. Okay, splitter, formatter, whatever you want to call it. Once it is there, I will go into my properties window and I will again try to increase the font size. So if I have a font available, come into this font name, make it bold, and for example, I just increase the font name so that it's more apparent, and we can change the color as well. We come here into the foreground and for example, we can specify this to be whatever color you like to do that. Then let's create another label here. I right click on this label, edit text, and I can say enter enter phone number, I guess, phone NO dot, right? So enter phone number, this becomes my label. Now in order to enter the phone number, we need a text field. So we search for a text field. Again, text field is a field where you enter a single line text. Text area is basically a component that allows you to enter multi-line text, right? So for now, because we're going to use that, I will just include this text field, increase the size of it. Again, always make sure you align these components very clearly and very accurately. NetBeans allows you to have these grid markers to align and snap to the component opposite to it or with the respect to GUI frame. Use them so that your component or GUI looks pretty nice. Then I like to increase the size of the font, so when I enter it, it's more readable. And then once it is done, right click on it, edit text. I just want to remove this text. Right click on it, again change variable name. This is again very essential because we're going to use this text field in our code. So you have to ensure that you change the name of or variable name of that text field, so you know which text field basically you're talking about. And my habit is that I give it a txt as a pretext, as a suffix to it, so that whenever I write txt, I know I'm referring to a text field, btn for button, and so on and so forth, right? So I can say text num number, right? So txt number becomes this text number. Similarly, I want an output, so I can come here and I can label this, right click, edit text. For example, this becomes my area code, okay? And in front of it, I can write, and now I need an output. Last time we have used text field as an output, we can do that. You can use a label as well to give an output on this field as well. But because we are using text field, so I can do that. So it's not necessary that you always use text field to give your output. You can generate or you can use labels to print the output or some information back onto the screen as well. Again, what I will do with this thing is I will just use it as a 12 size. Okay, obviously you can change the front end color. So for example, if you wanted to make it more apparent blue color, you can do that. I would uncheck editable so that it becomes more an output kind of a window, right? So area code will be presented here. Right click, change variable name. This will be text area. So I know that now text field area would have a text field area inside it. Similarly, I can go into label and I can create another label here, or one thing other we can do is we can select these two components, Control C, click here, Control V, and you can duplicate them very quickly and easily as well. So once you do that, it should be very nice, and just make sure the alignment is okay. Now it will be, for example, EXCHANG, exchange, and this text field here would be renamed as blank. Actually, should be blank. So as this. No, design, right click, edit text. This should also be blank. Then I once come here, right click, change variable name. See this, because we duplicated it, Java would automatically go into it, NetBeans, sorry, would automatically go into it and rename it as text area. I would just name it as EXCHANG, exchange. So text exchange would contain text exchange. Similarly, Control V again to copy paste the previous components, and I would just place it here. This is a lame way of doing it, but again, just save a little bit more time in arranging and everything. So right click, change variable name. This would be text, for example, NUMBR number. I think next number is already up there, right? What was supposed to be the name of this thing? Text number, yeah. So let me just put this thing into text NUM, right? So text NUM is the final variable name. Right click, edit text, and UMBR number, okay? And then finally control, let me just create the label now. So you can do the copy paste, or you can do same thing here, formatted NUMBR number, okay? And let me just increase the size of this to 12 again. So sometimes we do copy paste if you've done the formatting and everything. You don't want to do that for every single component. It just becomes a little bit easy. Just copy paste it. In our case, we can do the copy paste, or you can recreate the components every time you want to do that. So we have a bold and formatted number available for us. Right click on this, edit text. This goes blank. Then right click, change variable name. This becomes text text form. Let's just use a text form, okay? And so see, we have a very simple and easy to create GUI. That's the advantage of using NetBeans. You can create any small application very quickly and create a GUI components for it very simply and very easily. Finally, we create a button at the bottom, and let me just put this here, and let me just put this here. This button, right click, edit text. This would be convert, yeah, split number, right? So we are using word SPLIT, split NUMBR number, right? And I can again increase the size of this number. Usually I use a 12, it's more readable form, and here we go. So we have our phone number app created for us. Now what we need to do is that once I have this app, I click on the split number. Once I click on the split number, so whatever number I have entered here, the area code is separated, the exchange number is separated, the number is separated, and finally it's presented in a formatted way. You can do that on our console, but why do it when we have a very good GUI frame available to you? So once we have that available, now let's just go into the backend. So in order to do this coding, basically now it means that we have to drive an event. That event is based on this button. So whenever user clicks on this button, a certain action is to be performed. And when the user clicks on this button, the action is that you read the text from this field, you paste and format this text on these two given text fields. So we need to put an event behind this button, that what should happen when I click on this button, right? So in order to put that, right click on this button, we go into events, right? Event is basically the event that is occurred. Okay, and which event is occurred? There are tons of different events that we can control within our NetBeans or using Java. Primarily, we just work with mouse click, which means that whenever a user clicks on the mouse, a certain event occurs, right? And that event is mouse click. So once this mouse click event is occurred, it is triggered, certain code would be executed at the backend automatically. So what we do is we right click on this button, go into events, go into mouse and mouse click. As soon as you do that, basically you will be driven back into your source code. Now see this, we haven't named the J button, so it's J button 1. If there are many buttons in your code, again it's always recommended that you go into design, right click and change variable name. So I usually forgot to do that. Let me do that here. BTN button, SPLIT split. Click OK. Now what this basically means that I know my buttons names, I know the variable names, so I can easily refer them in my code. So now if I go back into events, mouse click, you would see that it is now button split mouse click event, which calls an mouse click event from the java.awt event file. Within this, now actually we are supposed to put the code in. What are we going to do? What happens when this button is clicked? So whatever code we write here will get executed when user clicks on this button. So text fields are just there to enter the text. We have not put any event on the text field. By default, every text field is enabled where you can enter the text, right? So that event is automatically managed internally by Java itself. What we are doing is we are managing the explicit exterior or the outside events, for which basically are driven by the user, events that are triggered by the users directly. So in this case, button. So when we click on the button, certain actions is to be performed. We are not tampering any events with the text field. So in this case, what I do is I say, for example, a string number NO is equal to txt, what was the name? Text number, right? Text number dot, as soon as I press dot, list pops up. That's another advantage of using NetBeans. It gives you a good idea. I want to use a method called get text, right? So get text. What this method will do is it will read the text from that particular text fields. Okay, so whatever text the user has entered, it will read that text for us, and then that text will be saved in the string number. So read the text from a string, that text field. Okay, read the text from the text field and put it and give it into this variable called NO number, because the text field will return a string data. Again, remember, every text field by default is purely strictly string. That's why we're doing so many programs to understand how a string is working. So even though if you enter the number in a number form, Java will read that as a string, because text field by default, the data type is a string. Okay, so once you read the data in a string form, you pass it to the string variable called number, right? NO is for that number. This is basically what we do. Now, once we have that string, so user enters the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We need to split that into various different components. So what I do is I create two other variables. String area is equal to, now this is my string variable. What I need to do is I need to go into number dot sub substring. This is another method that we are going to use now. Now substring is basically a method in Java that allows us to split and fetch a certain parts of a string. Okay, so if you have a string, again string is number of characters, it contains a large number of characters. You just need a selected part of that string. We use the method called substring. So it will go inside the string and it will fetch a certain string for us. It has three basic methods, two basic methods. Substring is starting value, substring starting and ending value. By starting value means that if you specify integer I only. So for example, if I use this and if I press enter, this will ask me to give a start index number. Okay, start index means, because again remember, a string when we create a string, the characters inside the string are stored with respect to an index number. Every character has been assigned an index number. You can consider this as an array. String internally behaves like an array, for example. So when we create a string hello, H is on 0 index, E is on 1 index, L is on 2 index, and so on and so forth. So this is the starting index. Tell me, where should I start to break this string from? This is what it means. It means that if I give it 2, so it will start from 2 till the end automatically. No, it doesn't matter how many string characters there are. It will start from 2 and fetch entire remaining characters. So initial 0 and 1, these two characters would be skipped. From 2 to remaining characters would automatically be fetched. However, once you give it, for example, start index, sorry, let me just leave it there. Hang on, what's happening? Okay, so we come back here. So we give it a start index, for example, 2. This becomes that start from 2, fetch till the end. Automatically, it takes just one argument string. You can use that. However, there is another version of it. You give specify comma and you give it an ending index. Alright, so previously 2 is the start index, ending index. So this means that start from 2, go till 5. So whatever string is between 2 and 5 will be fetched for us. Okay, so it will fetch the string from 2 to 5. The remaining entire string is discarded. It will only go and sub that string for us. So we specify, in our case, we say 0, go to the 0 and fetch a string, for example, 3. Okay, so it will go into 0, 1, 2, 3 characters and leave 3. This 3 is basically what we call an explicit index. Okay, so for example, in our case, if I go back into the code, this is 0 index, this is at 0 index, this is at 1 index, this is at 2 index, this is at 3 index, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because this is a string that we are entering, this character in a string form would automatically be at a 0 index. This would be at 1 index, this will be at 2 index, this will be at 3 index, this will be at 4 index. Okay. Now, the way it works, if I only specify a single argument, starting index 2, it will go from 0, 1, 2, it will start from 2 and fetch entire remaining strings for us. Okay. However, once we say that, let's just do the experiment for that. Okay. So if I specify 2 here and then I go into, let me just use text. I think it was split, right? SP. See this gives me all the components that I have used and it tells me the names. So if I've named them properly, I should be able to get them. So I have a text num.set text and then that text would be, for example, area. All right. So I have a simple test to see how substring works. So if I specify it as a 2, now it means it will start from a second index. Whatever text is entered in my text area, it will take it, start from second index and present the remaining strings for me, printed on this text area. So this is all we are doing right now. So if I go into my phone number, right click, let me make sure this is my default. Is this something called default? I think this is the default, right? Yeah, just run this, I guess. Here. Okay, so once I click on the run button, it will go into it, compile this code, and if everything goes well, it should give me the GUI. Now, again, remember, like previous lecture, we did this code, we run it, it gave me a build successful. However, there is no output window. Why is that? Because remember, once we create a package called phone number, we created this app. Java created a file called phonenumber.java. It gives us that play icon here indicating that this phone number actually contains public static void main. In order to use this code, this is the main method. When we execute this, my class gets executed first. And then within this code, we haven't told it anything to do next. Even though we can have 1,000 classes, but if there is nothing inside main method, the code will not execute because public static void main is the first thing that gets executed. And from that point forth, the remaining code executes, right? This is another common mistake people do when they use a NetBeans, or when lots of students come to me. We have created a code, but we don't get any output. We have the code, GUI is working, everything is there, there's no error, but when we compile, there is no error. Main thing is because we have not connected this main method to show me this GUI frame. We have not told this main method that you need to create an object and then display it onto the screen. So in order to do that, we have to tell that I have a class called phone number in my same package called phone number GUI PHG. I name it, for example, and then I give it a new variable, create a new object of this class phone number GUI, call the constructor, and that's it. Okay, so this is creating an object. So once we create an object of a class, now this object basically means that Java would go inside the memory, read the class, create an object which would have every function, every property, everything that has been defined in this class loaded inside memory. Okay, so once that is done, now Java would know that I have this object running in my memory. Java would read it, create an object, and again everything would be okay. Then still the output would not be shown because Java has an object, but it doesn't know what to do with that object. Again, it's a coding, so we have to tell it step by step what exactly you have to do. Create an object. By creating an object means it will go into the memory, load the object, all the files, methods inside that. Then we have to tell it, now bro, go inside this bhg dot set visible, make this GUI visible, set it to true. Once you do that, you go and execute. Now this means we have created an object and then told the Java to make that code visible inside public static void main, inside phone number class, not in the same class, in a separate class. So we have two classes. This is the Jframe, this is the main class. This file gets executed when your code is clicked on it. The first time you run, this is the main file. So we have to tell this main file that you need to load this class. So it goes into it, creates an object, and then presents it onto the screen. To do that, we use this simple two-line of a code. Now we have this code 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0, for example. We click on split button. This is what we get. Set num. See this? The number starts from 3, 4, 5, 6. So because we gave it the code called, if I go back into my code, so we gave it the code start from 0 index, start from 2 index. But 2 index means this is 0 index, this is 1 index. It started from this 3rd index and fetched everything up till the last, right? So giving only one argument would actually, in a substring, will basically means that start from this index to the last character. But for example, if I say 6 here, now what it means that start from the first, third, and second index and go up till the 6th character. Okay, and which should be from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So assumingly it should present till 7. So, but again, now because I've changed it, let me just close this. Then again, the output was actually on this split number. I think let me just change the name of this thing. What was the name? Text form. Okay. Let me give it text output. Actually, it makes a little bit more sense. And let me present this idea on text output. Okay, so now we have, sorry, what did I do? Set number on this set output, right? So I just changed the variable names and I'm changing the same thing in the code here. So we now use 2 and 6, recompile the code again, and hopefully if everything goes okay, we get our GUI frame again. And now I enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 values here, click on split number, we get the output 3, 4, 5, 6. Now see what happened. We gave it a substring 0. Text number dot get text. Text number is the name of this text field. Dot get text basically means get the text from this text field. So whatever user enters in this area, you get me. For example, if this is blank, right? If I don't write anything, then click on split number. You see there's an error generated at the back end. This is called a runtime error, which indicates as exception and thread. This is an exception index out of bound, blah, 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 blah thing. Because we are using an empty string. If you don't enter anything, you click split, this will return a null value. Null means there is no text inside this string. However, because we need to enter some text, but because there is no text and we go into substring and start reading from 2, it says this string is null, there is nothing inside it, and you are reading the second index. I have no second index. That's why it threw an exception at runtime. So we enter the text here and we give it certain values. We click on the split number, we get this 3, 4, 5, 6 now. Okay. Now 2 means 0. This is the 1 index. This is the 2 index. Right. So this 3 is actually the second index. Then we said give it 6. So from this second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, it should have also given me 7. Because 7 is on the 6th index. Okay. Now this is what it means. It should give me 7, but it didn't. It gave, however, even though we have given the 6th index, The reason behind is that this 6 is actually an explicit number. This 6 is actually an explicit value. This means up till that value. In other words, if you use coding, this basically means less than 6. In conditions we use relational operators. Remember, in relational operators we have something called less than and something called less than equal to. Equal to means up till that value, exactly that value and anything less than that equals. However, this 6 number or this ending index is basically an explicit number which refers to less than that particular number, not equal to or one number short, less than that. So this automatically means that it starts from 2, 3, 4, 5. When it reaches 6, it says, nah, I don't need to go to 6. I need to be less than 6. So it will fetch the characters from 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 4 characters are fetched. This 6 is an explicit less than value. So it will automatically stop, which is actually very useful. We will see a few more examples as we go along later on. So when I specify 6, basically this is what it does. So now in our case, we need area code. So area code, we already have in mark that it's the first 3 digits are supposed to be the area code. So 0 index, 1 index, 2 index. Okay. So I need to fetch these 3 in character. If I write, for example, in my code from 0 to 2 index, again, area code, let me hide that, and text output. This time I will just want to present text area. That go into text area, set text area. Now what we've done here, we got the text from one text field. We did some processing, substring, then we send the output on the another text area. So get text is basically reading from the system. Set text is basically setting an output onto the system. If I compile this code again, close this, go here. We have a phone number app and 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And if I click on split, now area code gives me 1, 2. 1, 2, I should have also got 3 because 0 and 2. So 0 means this is 0, this is 1, this is 2. I should have got 2 because I specified 2 here. But I didn't get the second index because remember, this is the explicit. The ending number is an explicit. Explicit means that it is actually not counted. It is considered as a less than value. So it is less than second index, not the second index itself. It's not equal to, right? So hope you understand that. So when we specify 2, basically it doesn't go to the 2 index. It goes to the less than 2. So it just fetches 0 and 1 first 2 digits. So we need to specify 3 here. 3 means go to 0, 1, 2, 3 digits. And then the third index is actually the less than. So it will go behind that. And we will get our text area. Similarly, once we have the text area, we said, okay, fine, nothing to worry about. We go into a string, exchange, exch exchange is equal to, now I go into number dot substring. Okay. And I will specify 3. Now why I need to specify 3? Because if I cancel this, what happened? Did I do something here? I think I've jumped to certain other pages. Okay. Where's my code gone? Okay, so these are all different tasks in my book that are over there. We've been performing them. We will be going through many of these tasks. And let me just find that task back again. Here we go. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, these becomes these 3 index. And then from this point forth, right? 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 3, 4, 5 are the index number for these values. So what I do is I go back into my code. I say start from this 3, 4, 5. I need these 3 numbers there. So I need to specify not 5 but 6, because 6 means less than 6 would give me that 5 number. So always remember, the ending number is actually 1 less. It's a less than value. So when I specify it as 6, it will actually go 3, 4, 5, fetch the remaining 3 numbers. Then I go into text and I specify it as exchange, exchange dot set text semicolon and I exchange variable value. Okay, so what this will do, it will go into 3 and 6 and fetch the given number for me. So let me just test that. I execute this code. Okay, oh sorry, here we go. My mouse is moving all the way here. Okay, so I give it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, and I click on split. So we get 1, 2, 3 as the area code, then 4, 5, 6 as the exchange code. Okay, so 3 index, 4 index, 5 index, and 6 is specified here, but that 6th index is actually less than number. So this less than would actually give me this 4, 5, 6 index. Now let's just fetch the number index, and again we just do the same thing. We go into a string, num number is equal to again number substring, and then I specify from 6 to or just 6, right? Because now I want that from this 6th index till the last, right? So I don't know whatever this is, I can just leave it to 6. So it will start from the 6, go till the end. If you want to specify the ending number, we do number dot length, length, and this is how we basically specify. So go till the length, the total number of the characters, and then one it will automatically be the ending index. So we can do that, or I can just leave it to 6 here, and then I can say text num dot set text, okay, and then give it this num value. So once we have that, hopefully that should do the job. If I go back into the code, okay, here it is, and so I specify 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, okay, and I split it. So we get 1, 2, 3 as my area code, 4, 5, 6 as my exchange code, and 7, 8, 9, 0 as my number. Okay, so this is what we did. We use a substring, identify the various indexes, and split the code. That's a task. And then let's just present the final formatted text. Then formatted is text output dot set text bracket close. In this, basically we need to specify inverted quotations bracket start plus area plus inverted quotations bracket close. Okay, remember, because we need to give the formatted text in this order. So this is a string. In order to give this a string, we use something called brackets, the string bracket. Then this is plus area variable. So this area data is in a variable, so we give that plus variable. Then plus again to concatenate it with this string. Okay, so it will now use this string variable here. And then once that is done, we give it a plus, and then we give it exch exchange variable. Now again we want to join it with the remaining string, so we give it a string, give a dash sign because that's the minus dash sign is there, then again plus, and then we want to give a number. Okay, so what this will do is it will go inside my string and format it accordingly and present it. So this first double quotation bracket would be the first bracket, then plus, add the area variable name here, then again plus, add the double quotation in a box again. So whenever we need to concatenate a string with a variable, we just use the plus sign here. So it will concatenate or join this string with this variable name plus join this string with this variable name. So I have a variable between two strings. This is how basically I do. I start inverted quotations bracket inverted quotations close plus to join with this thing. All right. So once this is done, then again plus, because this area variable is again a variable, join this variable output with another string after that. So it concatenates that. Once that is done, again plus, so I can include another variable data from here, and then plus to join it with another string. Okay. Once we have that, I go back into my code, close this, split variable, and here we go. So we enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Click on the split button. Voila, this is what we get. Okay, so this is a simple test of a code or something that we can do very easily that splits our variables. Now again, this is just the test. Obviously you can understand that whatever number you want to format, you can do that. Your phone number, cell phone number usually has initial 4 digits defining your company. You can find it, you can split that using 4 numbers, then determine which company it is, and you can use conditions and evaluate your strings based on that. So it depends absolutely up to you. Your area code, your country code usually is in the first 3 digits. You can use that. And there can be applications, many, that allows us to work on the strings. Yes, one thing is that we have used a hard-coded index values. Later on, certain exercises we will involve in which we basically do not use a hard-coded values, but we find these index numbers ourselves. There are other tasks that we will be doing on string that will allow us to understand how we can automatically split this string and process this string as we go along. Anyway, this is Dr. Zeeshan Bhatti from Zeeshan Academy. This is a small learning by example. In other words, a problem-solving approach to Java. I hope you understand this lecture. If you like it, kindly do hit that like button. Give your comments and feedback. Let me know if you don't understand anything. If you've been watching this video for the first time, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below and hit that bell icon so that you can get updated with the more lectures that I will be posting regularly. Thank you very much. See you around.